Now, in manufacturing, for example, almost entirely all industries in manufacturing did well. You look at your paper, your wood, you look at petrochemical products, you look at motor vehicle manufacturing, you look at iron and steel. All of them did very well generally. Whereas in agriculture, it's only field crops and horticulture that have performed very well. Mm-hmm. So, having spoken of manufacturing and agriculture, let us look at retail, for example, and let us look at finance, for example. Retail and finance didn't grow as much as agriculture and manufacturing have grown. Finance actually grew at 2.3% quarter on quarter, but its contribution is 0.5 of a percentage point, which is even higher than the contribution that agriculture has had, even if agriculture grew a lot more stronger than finance. And so is retail. Retail contributed 0.5 of a percentage point. We still have transport and communication, which has contributed about 0.4 of a percentage point to the total number that we are talking about of the growth rate, 2.2%. So those are the industries that have done relatively well. And in terms of, look at mining. Mining had the highest contraction, and of course it also contributed negatively to the quarter-on-quarter growth rate. So is construction. Construction also had a negative growth and contributed negatively to what we have seen in the form of the final figure. So when you look at all those, and then you come and say we have a final figure of 2.2% quarter on quarter, you not only look at the growth rates, but you also look at the contributions. That's why it's very critical that when we look at the economy, we look at what each sector has, each industry has contributed.
Now,
so generally, we can say that the primary sector didn't do well. As in your mining and quarry, as well as your agriculture, it didn't do well. But the secondary sector, areas where you find manufacturing, areas where you find construction and the like, have done relatively better. But the tertiary sector, where you find your finance, has done relatively a lot more better.
Obviously, these numbers, when we look at them in the South African context, we look at the impact on employment, which, whatever happens with the economy, the growth thereof, would have to have an impact on that. I wonder if the numbers that you're coming up with have made any difference to the employment situation in the country from what you are able to analyze.
Generally, employment has continued to be on a steady rise. Since 2008, for almost a decade, we have seen the numbers of those that are employed continuing. But so is the unemployment rate. So people who are actively looking for employment and cannot find employment. Unemployment since 2008 to 2018 has actually been sitting between 20 and 30%. And in the last few quarters, we have seen it coming out of above 25%, steadily shooting beyond 27%, now sitting at 27.2%. And if you ask me, while in the previous quarters we had seen a contraction of the economy, we have seen unemployment increasing. Where we are seated now, we will not be able to see it now because we just have reported on the third quarter, how the economy has performed. So in the fourth quarter of 2018, when we release the quarterly labor force survey, we will be able to see if there has been any contributions of the growth in the economy to reducing unemployment. And for us, whatever we make public, even if that reduction is by a percentage point, for policymakers and captains of industry, it's worth rejoicing to say it has gone down. But for us as statisticians in official practice, any number is a number. Because if we start looking at only numbers that are reporting well, like this recent one on the GDP, 2.2% of positive growth, it means next time when there's a contraction and we have negative growth, we'll not make it public. So it's the same with unemployment. If it's there and we have made our findings, we make it public.